What an intro! This guy's good. I bet his videos are awesome. All jokes aside, I hope you guys enjoy the content. As you could tell from that intro, well, I'll just leave it up to your imagination what I did in this video, but I'm guessing that you can figure it out. I normally don't say this in my videos at all, but it does help with the algorithm and I need all the help that I can get. So please like, comment, subscribe, and enjoy the content. I've had these wheels since before we moved into this house, and that was in May of 2010. So yeah, about 12 years, a little more. And the whole time they've basically been up in the attic of this garage. And so I figured it was finally time to put tires on them. And so about 2 years ago, I ordered tires. And when I ordered the tires, I realized that these wheels actually don't have holes drilled in them for valve stems. So this is the valve stem, and it actually has a flathead cap on it. So this piece threads off. Try to do it with one hand. And in order to put air in, you actually have to thread this piece in. So you have to keep this somewhere in your glove box. When you want to put air in the tire, you have to take this thing off with a coin or something. And then you need to screw this piece in. Hopefully you don't lose or damage this. I've looked at a few pictures on the internet, and I think the company that made these actually went out of business. I haven't been able to find their website. It was a small place in Ontario, Canada. It was CMW Racing Custom Mini Works, I think is what it was. Okay, so I've imprinted the bolt holes. Let's use this piece of cardboard once again. I'll cut that, fold this in half. With this folded in half, we should be able to find the center here. This is about center. And we'll do the same thing. We'll use this piece of cardboard and mark that on it. And then I can use it right there. Does it make anyone else nervous that I'm drilling holes in a custom set of wheels that you can't get replacements for? Now I can continue drilling through from this side. Okay, I'm gonna go for it. Okay. Is this gonna work? Okay. I'm going to use some medium strength Loctite on these. Hopefully they never have to come out. If the core goes bad itself, that can be replaced. So that shouldn't be an issue. I don't foresee them ever having to come out. Valve stems aren't exactly a regular service item. So that is what it looks like when it's done, basically. Great. So just to clarify on the technology that I use to decide where to drill these very expensive custom rims that can't be replaced, I measured the distance between these 2 points by marking it on a piece of cardboard. I then cut that cardboard at the 2 points that I had marked, and then I folded the cardboard in half. And then I cut just on the inside of those holes so that it would hook in the inside of the bolts. So it hooks on the inside of the bolts, and then I have my center point where the fold is. And I can put a little scratch where that fold mark is because this area is going to be drilled out. So I don't have to worry about scratching it. Then to figure out how far out I need it to go, I measured the thickness of the thickest part of this, which was about 18 millimeters. Then I went half of that. I marked that onto a piece of cardboard, which I'm sure doesn't get picked up on the camera here, but there's a mark right here. And then because I can't get in there with the calipers, what I do is I hold this up against the rim where the line is that I've already made, and then I put the punch here and I push on that, and that is where I drill my hole. I'm probably not going to film this because there's probably going to be a lot of swearing. It's going to be really hard to get these on, I assume, without damaging the rims. Some of you may have expected that in the next clip these wheels would be on the car. Sorry to disappoint. I have cleaned them up. I washed the tires off. I also washed the floor in the process. Might not look like it, but it was even more nasty before. And I'm actually not going to install these wheels and tires right away. What I'm planning on doing next is tackling the brake and clutch master cylinders. I mentioned in the last video that I needed to install them, and I thought I would explain a little bit about that. Try to keep it brief. So I have already replaced all of the lines, clutch line and brake lines, and I replaced the clutch master cylinder. And then the car was sitting here, and many years ago now, I noticed a puddle of brake fluid on the floor. Fortunately, I haven't put the new carpet in it yet, or it would have ruined the new carpet, but I noticed a puddle of brake fluid there and ended up taking the brake master cylinder out, and it was leaking quite poorly. It was corroded and stuff inside. Now, the new master cylinder comes with that fork piece on the end of it that you put the pin through, but the old one actually has a separate forked piece. So currently on the brake pedal is a forked piece that then has a round end on it that goes up into this. So what I need to do is crawl in underneath there, remove a cotter pin and a pin, pull that stuff out, and then hope that this actually fits in place. I did end up getting the brake and clutch master cylinder in there, but it didn't go exactly smoothly. I had replaced the clutch master cylinder before and all of the lines, and I took a lot of care and time to make sure that the lines were done very pretty and routed in a way that made a lot of sense. Unfortunately, the shape of the reservoir on this is different, so this line now just looks like it's hanging out there for no reason and doesn't really have the bend in the right place here, but it will have to do for now. Off camera, I've bled what appears to be the rear brakes, and they are starting to feel solid, but I'm not getting anything. Kind of weird, I'm not getting any fluid out here when I loosen this. Really weird feeling brakes when you don't have a power assist. I've loosened off the fitting here. Even when I pump the brakes here, there's nothing coming out. That worries me that maybe there's something wrong with this brand new master cylinder. I feel suction. Oh, there we go. She just needs to be primed a little. I'm glad that squirted down and not right at the camera or right at my face. Whoa! Okay, that went right up my sleeve. So the Mini has run out of fuel, so I can't move it even though I've got the clutch and brake working. And unfortunately the gas cap is against this wall. So I can't get gas into it until I move the car, but I can't move the car because it doesn't have gas in it. Oh, wait a second. This is a Mini. There we go. Oh, that smells nasty. I've got some fuel that I mixed up for my jet ski. It's mixed at 50-to-1 with some 2-stroke oil. That shouldn't hurt this any. I'm going to clean up some of this junk and see if I can move it out and then drive it in here. And that'll be the first time it's moved in, 10 or 12 years. It's so funny. It's probably hard to tell by looking at it, but I did just spend the last several hours cleaning this up. I went over the whole outside of the car with a scrub brush and cleaned it all off. I did the rear package tray as well. The only thing that didn't really get cleaned is the inside of the trunk. I cleaned inside the engine bay as well, and I used a washcloth to clean the interior out somewhat after vacuuming it. I went over the whole outside of the car after with a washcloth after going over it with a scrub brush. And yeah, this is probably as good as it's going to look in quite some time. I don't have any plans to paint this in the near future. I do have the paint for it, which is basically that color. But I'm not sure if I still want to do it that color or not. Probably not going to happen in the near future because that takes a lot of time and a lot of prep work. So my immediate plans for this thing are to put the wheels on so I can look at it and show everybody how cool they are. I then need to go over the whole car and kind of check some stuff. I know for sure there's some stuff that I left loose, thinking that I was going to do adjustments on it and set stuff up. I've already found a few things that for sure I left for myself later, and now it's been, well, almost 15 years. So I've forgotten all that stuff. So basically I have to go over every bolt and nut on the car and check it, because this thing was tore all the way down to a bare shell, and I put it back together. So I have to make sure that nothing's going to fall off of it. After that, I guess putting some windows in it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. I was waiting to do that until it got painted, but it's not going to get painted in probably not within the next couple of years, if I'm honest. But maybe, who knows. But it doesn't take that long to take the glass back out, so I am going to probably put the glass in after I get the wheels on and kind of go over the whole car and make sure bits aren't falling off. It needs a new radiator before it can run because I had water in it. I was keeping it in a heated garage, but then I moved it from the heated garage to here before I had heat in here, and it sat out over the winter, of course, in here without any heat, and it froze. Knocked out some frost plugs and also blew out the bottom of the radiator. I took the radiator off and tried to fix it several years ago. It's now a few hours later, and of course things didn't go exactly to plan. This side had a spacer on it, but when I went to put the other side on, there actually wasn't a spacer. I only had 2 spacers, and I remember now the reason why I got 2 spacers was because I wasn't sure if I was actually going to use them. And once I mounted that wheel up without the spacer, it sticks out probably about 2 inches. And so this spacer is another inch, so that would be 3 inches of poke. And I've decided, I think at the time when I was building this car, I wanted to use really wide fender flares and use the wide spacers. But now after all this time, I've kind of decided that I would much rather not have that much poke. All that to say, what I'm currently doing, I've knocked all these studs out, and I'm actually threading the last one. It actually worked out kind of well because the shoulder on this stud fits into one of the grooves in my chuck, and it just so happens that not only does it grab it nice and tight so I can actually thread it without it slipping in the chuck, but it's the perfect distance that I need to thread. Basically all I do is I thread this in until it touches, and it is the perfect length, and then I actually cut 7 millimeters off the end. This is going to be a bigger job than I assumed. The studs are not in the brake drum. As you can see, the studs are in fact in the hub. This isn't lining up perfect. Oh. So apparently I need spacers in here. The tire's rubbing on the spring, so apparently I need some spacers. That seems like a reasonable amount of wheel poke to have, not obscene. It's a little bit more than the front. It's dawning on me right now how much this is really gonna suck. This is how much I'm gonna have to remove. About 16 millimeters.
Yeah, I've been running and running to keep it 100, it's all that I wanted. But lately I don't get the stomach. The higher the summit, the harder the plummet. They know me all over this planet. I'm just a man and I can't understand it. Proud that I win and I did it myself. Probably wouldn't if I got the help. Hearing subliminals all on myself. Feel like I'm breaking, I'm falling to hell. Told me I'm sick and I tell her, oh well. Rather be dead than to know that I failed. Live for the chase, life is a race. I'm out of space, so me get on my face. I got a taste, well the whole plate finna get laced if you step out of place. Like, first off, you don't run nothing. All talk and your team bluff it. My squad, we all dream crushing. We ain't rushing, no discussion. All I know is I was made for this. Paid for this, yeah, slave for this. Been down and I'ma get it right. Get on sight like down and I'ma get it right. Dead on sight like been down and I'ma get it right. Dead on sight like
Well, as you guys can see, I've been doing some work on the Mini. I didn't actually get the hood mounted and the bumper mounted. They're just on there just so that we can see what it looks like. I'd have a lot of work to do before I could ever get to the point where I could put the hood on. In fact, I don't even know if I have hinges for it anymore. But I did get the wheels installed. And I am really liking the look of that. It turns out that I am short 2 lugs or 2 nuts on this side. Well, I'm short 2 lugs and 2 washers in total. And so I actually found the company that I got the wheels from is actually called Classic Motor Works. That website, that business is no longer up, but if you look at their Facebook page, you can find their current website under a different name. So I sent them a message yesterday asking them about getting nuts, and I did a little bit of research, and it looks like I can use wheel nuts from the, I think they call them mini lights. They are another classic mini wheel, an alloy wheel, and they're slightly different. I should be able to use them. If not, I can make a set. Not sure what I'm going to do. Not sure where this project is going to go. I got some news the other day that could mean that I have to sell the Mini. I've been yammering on in my videos about my financial situation for some time, but yeah. I got some news that could mean that yeah, I might have to say goodbye to the Mini. I'm not sure what I would get for it. Probably wouldn't be worth selling at this point, considering the amount of money I have into it and how much I would get, but we will see. Hopefully things don't turn out for the worst. I gotta say, I'm really happy I didn't go with the big spacers. The wheel spacing on this is really nice. You can get fairly moderate wheel arches. The ones I was gonna go with were the Sport Pack ones, which are basically for racing. They stick way out. And while I do like the look of them, they're a little bit aggressive. So I think I like this better with small wheel arches. That's all I have to say about the Mini for now. I'm not sure what the future of it is, whether or not I'm going to be doing some more work on it, parking it in the corner for another 10 years, or saying goodbye to it as somebody else takes ownership of it. But yeah, only time will tell. I've been doing a little bit of work to the X2. I've probably accidentally shown it in the background footage of this video, but I won't show it and spoil it for you guys. I haven't been doing a lot of filming on it, but I did kind of tackle it yesterday and do a bunch of work to it. So it's getting closer and closer to testing. Still do have a lot of things to do, and there's a few things that I'm having a hard time figuring out, or haven't really tackled trying to figure out, I guess. But that will have to wait for another video. That's going to do it for this one. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you like the Mini content, be sure to let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.